bring in our guy, Lance Briggs.
El Boogity.
Along with Corey Wootton.
Mm-hmm.
Lance, I'm curious. I was pretty. I started the show pretty hot about the effort level, which kind of shocked me. I mean, I'm obviously not shocked they lost the game,
right?
But considering the new coach that they asked for, they seem pretty excited about Thomas Brown.
Yep.
And Woot and I have been sitting here talking about some of these business decisions that were made throughout this game. I just, from your player's perspective, did that surprise you?
I'll tell you what surprised me the most. What surprised me the most is how wide open Kittle was the entire game. It's just interesting. And then the free releases, I'm as a linebacker, I'm looking at all the opportunities we can get to disrupt him and force them to go away from go to someone else. I remember playing against the Cowboys, and Romo's favorite target was Jason Witten. Okay, when you look in the stats, Witten gets more catches than he gets at least 10 more catches than the next receiver. So if we're in cover 2, cover 1, whatever it is, we're cheating to Witten. You know what I mean? If we can get a chip on him, we can get anything on him, disrupt the timing, make Romo go somewhere else because Romo's going to roll and he's going to go somewhere else. That's what we're going to do. That was really disappointing because who this guy is, we know that he throws it. We know that's one of his favorite targets. Yep. So we should be cheating to him. I saw Tremaine Edmonds playing his fundamental read with Kittle running down the line. It was a free release right up. It's a spacing route, so he turns right around like it's a curl or a hook. And Edmonds is just playing his traditional read instead of cheating toward this guy. That is disheartening for me a little bit.
Yeah, the coverage was soft across the board, even from the secondary. Seems like on 3rd and 4.
Yeah.
Why are you playing 10 yards off, right, in the situation? Know where the sticks are. It just seemed like there was too soft coverage. And then another thing I thought Coach Eric Washington would do was bring more pressure. He's seen how we struggle with the front 4, and it just wasn't pressure. Brock Purdy had all day back there at times. And, if you're going to disrupt opposing quarterbacks, you got to make things hard for him. And it was pretty easy when he's sitting back there, drinking a coffee, having a sandwich, to be able to complete it down the field. So.
That's great. Just like, hey, what they have in Jersey? A coffee. Get a coffee.
Yo, bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich.
What we call guys that are back 10 yards on when it's 3rd and short, we call them scared.
Yeah.
You're scared. All right? You're scared. All right? You know what the down and distance is. You know what the percentages are. You should be up. You should be up pressing right now.
You got to be aggressive.
Play it.
Get your hands on them. Be
Let's
physical.
Roll.
That's the whole point of this Tampa, too. Have physical corners, DBs, right? That get your hands on people and disrupt them.
Yeah.
There was a moment late in the game. I don't know how many people caught it, but I thought it was pretty damning. Jonathan Vilma, who was the analyst on the Fox broadcast today, he was talking about Brock Purdy's big day and the 49ers and all this, and then he kind of transitioned. He goes, but what happens when you are going to go up against a defense that actually shows more looks? And then he straight up called the Bears defense vanilla today.
Yeah.
And so it's like, and it's just, but that's startling considering how we talked up this defense earlier in the season, because there was a time where they looked like they were trending in the right direction. They were taking the ball away. It seemed like they could be a top 5 defense, as some of the players declared themselves in the offseason. Now we're here.
It's the thing about it is that it raises some questions for me. Now, in our style of defense, there are ways that you disguise coverages. You disguise coverages if that's what you want to do. You know what I mean? But there's also a way to play it aggressively. There's a way to take away what your opponent is presenting. There's ways to do that. I've said this from day one when I saw Eberflus. I said, listen, they're in bunch situation. There's these tight stack situations. I never see us go up and press. You know what I mean? That's something that when we played, we pressed every bunch situation, every tight stack situation, okay? Because it nullifies the timing. Right. It allows our defensive linemen to get to the quarterback. Right. Gives them more time, more opportunity. So, and they started doing it a little bit, not as much as I would like. The other thing that I don't see from this defense, and I'll say this for any defense, I don't hear enough communication. I don't hear people talking. I don't hear people calling out what routes that they're looking out for, what runs, what to, I don't hear enough communication. And when you don't communicate, offense wins.
Yep. No, I couldn't agree with him more. Like back when I played with him and Lack, anytime there was a play going, hey, watch the trap, watch the boot.
Here it comes.
They'd run a boot there. You guys knew the play before it was even happening. I think that's the mark of a good team. And basic crossing routes, when you're in the zone, they're not passing them off. They're not being physical with them, and they're wide open on simple plays. And that should be stopped. As long as you be physical, you stay in your zone, and especially Stevenson on the one touchdown, right? Mm-hmm. He has the corner.
Yeah.
He's looking in the backfield. His eyes aren't on his keys.
Discipline.
Yep. And then they throw the ball right over. So that's a classic thing that we saw from the Bears all day today. And it's creeped in, especially as of late.
We could, when we played, we were so good at communication. Lack was so good at communication. He would call out plays, and I would get out of position because of it. So he would call out pull, and I'm thinking there's a pull, and there's no pull on my side, and I'm like, there wasn't a pull. He's like, oh, I'm sorry, that was on my side. All right. That's gonna look great on film, buddy.
Yeah. Exactly. As long as they don't break anything out, you're fine. You're fine. But what are you doing?
Was that more of a result of you guys as players doing film study, or you guys getting detailed scouting reports from the coaches, or was it both?
It's all of the above.
Okay.
So for us, we were forced to, in our walkthroughs, we had to have bent knees. Yep. We had to call out the plays. We had to call out the formation, and we had to call out the runs. And it was really annoying. And when we walked up and when we got close to the ball, we had to try to punch the ball out. All right? This was all part of our fundamental in walkthrough. So it gets to this point where you're calling it out, and if you're not calling it out, Bob Babbage is like, call it out, bend your knees, punch the ball, and do it over because they didn't do it right, and you get annoyed by it, but you do it so much, becomes repetition, and now you find yourself saying it all the time. And when you have a young guy that comes in and you're like, hey, you need to call that out. You need to call it out. If you call it out, it lets us know. It lets everybody know, yourself and everybody that's involved, know that you know what you're doing.
That's one thing, and then rallying to the football, which just takes effort. Mm-hmm. Scooping and scoring every ball on the ground.
Everything.
Right, whether it's a clear incomplete pass or not, because you never know in any situation. A fumble, even if it hit the ground, you scoop and score. Yeah. That's just creating that habit, and that's something that I think has creeped in, especially with the ball with Caleb offensively. Yeah. Nobody's making effort to the ball. Correct. I think San Francisco still would have got the ball, but nobody's sprinting to the ball to try to get it in that point.
No, they're kind of looking at it. It was annoying. All right, let's talk quickly on the offensive side. We were discussing earlier, like Caleb's day was almost a little confusing. You actually look at the numbers, not bad. I mean, like his passer rating was 116, but obviously you get sacked 7 times, and at some point some of that has to be on the quarterback too. I'm just curious what you thought about his game.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. Yes, some of it is on him. Protection wasn't very good at all. And one thing that I've seen consistent this year is there are times where he's not getting help from his receivers. Yeah. All right. He could have extended drives. He could have extended a drive at least 2 times with back-to-back drops from his 2 top receivers. Okay. And now the following play, he gets sacked. But to me, that was caused because your 2 receivers dropped the other two catches prior, and they were catchable balls. So there's no excuse for any of that. So it's when you say there's stuff that's on the quarterback, yes, but damn, like help him.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, there's no excuse for your top 2 receivers, like you said, dropping the ball. Like gotta help your guy in a situation, especially when it's been so up and down this year offensively. He's a rookie quarterback. He's trying to figure things out. Stuff happens so much quicker. So we have an opportunity. It's not like it's one thing if he threw it high and you got your fingertips on it, but that was in the chest a few times, especially DJ Moore and company. You got to help your quarterback out.
What is your level of concern? Look, this season's over, obviously, but the level of which they basically no-showed today under a new coach. Right, it was one thing for it to happen in Arizona after the Hail Mary game, right? And I think that's when we first saw these cracks start to pop.
Yeah.
But now you got everything you wanted. You got this new coach. And this was an absolute no-show. I guess at some point, how much is it just the roster? Like, they're just not that good.
I disagree with that.
Okay.
I disagree that the roster is not good, especially on the defensive side, because we've seen them do it consistently. It's just disappointing that we're seeing them fall from grace the way that they're falling. You know, there's too many good players in that locker room to allow themselves to play the way that they play. You know, and they went from a defense that, you know, didn't give up more than 20 points, you know, to now they're consistently in the 30s.
Yep.
And that, to me, there's a lack of the things that you can control, you know, which is number one, effort. You know, effort, your attitude, and your alignments. Make sure that your alignments are exactly where they need to be, because your alignments take care of your keys. It can be a combination of coaching, but these players have to take ownership. You got to own your own doggone defense. You all know what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, I think it's just so bad because if you look at the tape, it wasn't like they did anything crazy, the 49ers. Not like they schemed up this crazy game plan where, you know, it was all this trick dickum stuff.
Yeah.
It was simple stuff, crossing routes, simple runs. And he just couldn't stop it.
I was like, what's your game plan for George Kittle?
You know,
did you have one?
When DJ Williams, when he came over to the Bears,
yep.
He made this great point when we were going through linebacker drills, you know, and he's like, whoa, he's like, so when you drop, you're peaking at one releases inside. Okay, you're overplaying one. If he rolls outside, you're overplaying two. He's like, can you do that? You know, and he's talking about how we route read. We would route read as linebackers. And he goes, you know, we played in the same system in Denver. He's like, I played the same position you played in Denver in the same system. He's like, but your coach coached a detail that my coach didn't. Mm-hmm. And that's the difference between a good player and an all-pro or a Hall of Famer. So when you think about it that way, it's like, okay, what detail or lack of details are being taught to our linebackers when I see Tremaine Edmonds dropping to his fundamental drop and Kittle's running directly down, free release, and he's not cheating to him right away.
Exactly.
Or even pre-snap, you should be looking. I'm already looking. I'm like, hey, that's their playmaker. Exactly. I'm probably telling them, hey, that's their playmaker, you know? And I want to take him away, make him go somewhere else.
Yep. No, I couldn't agree more. I think coaching matters a lot more than people think. And the attention to details is the difference between, you know, you making a play and not, and them being wide open. And little things creep up, and eventually, like, especially the Bears right now, they're a bad team for a reason because all those little details are getting overlooked.
We all silly like the mayor.